The exiting Canadian High Commissioner to Ghana, Kati Csaba, has remarked that Ghana's return to the IMF sends positive signal to investors in Canada. She's been speaking to my colleague Charles Aite on a range of developments in her final media interview as High Commissioner.
Your Excellency, great to meet you again. This is the second time we're meeting. The very first time was your first, official duty here in Ghana.
That's right.
This time around, you leave it.
Yes.
So soon. How soon time flies.
It does indeed. You're catching me at the beginning and at the end of my mandate here.
But how has the experience been like for you?
Oh, it's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed being in Ghana, and I will be happy to talk more about that. But it's just been a great learning experience and professionally very satisfying, but also personally.
Indeed. When we started our interview on the very first day, your official visit, after present your credentials to the president, you mentioned that you were very passionate about women.
Yes.
And women entrepreneurship and all. And I mean, I was very expectant of the various things, the initiatives that are going to be churning out during your assignment here. Walk us through some of the highlights of your impetus in ensuring that women entrepreneurship in Ghana is competitive and rolling in a very positive way.
I am indeed still very passionate about gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. I can't claim that everything I'm going to tell you about started under my mandate. I mean, of course, there were things that were underway before me, but I do take a lot of pride in some of the work that we've been doing together as a team. So I'd point first of all to our program around financial inclusion for enterprise development, which is known otherwise as our FineDev project. This is one that is working with Sinapi Aba Savings and Loan, and it's doing a lot. And I think over the past 6 years, they've made great strides in really refining the approaches that they're taking in working specifically with women entrepreneurs. So they have various programs that are in place to support women, including one that I find really exciting around helping women-led small businesses become export ready. And when I think about the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the fact that that is now up and running, so we want to be empowering as many women as possible to be not only working within Ghana but also exporting across its borders. So that would be one program that I'd point to. And then last year I had the pleasure of participating in the official launch of a cluster of four projects that are specifically focused on women's entrepreneurship. They've been up and running also for a little while, but it was a great opportunity to meet with the four partners and to get things underway officially. So the first of those is a project called We North, which is based in Tamale. I had the chance to visit them in June, just recently.
Climate all
yes. And that project is focused on supporting young women who are interested in working in trades that are considered to be sort of male-dominated trades. So this program is training young women to become electricians and plumbers and bricklayers and carpenters, things like that. So I had a chance to see these young women learning these new skills. There's now a waiting line of young women who want to join this program, but it's not only about the skills. It's also training them on entrepreneurship skills, so that when they finish their course of study, once they have these technical skills in hand, they will also have the know-how to be able to start up their own businesses. So that's a great one that I've really enjoyed seeing. Then we have another project called WISE being implemented by Plan International together with Plan Ghana that is developing 5 what they call her hubs, which are like one-stop shops for business advisory services for women-led businesses, but not in the big cities, in rural and peri-urban districts in the Brong, Ahafo, and northern regions. And so that way, in these communities, women are able to get really specific advice and guidance on how they can start and grow their own small businesses.
I see that a chunk of your energies was directed towards the northern parts of the country.
That's absolutely true.
What exactly informed that strategy?
Well, I mean, overall, we were looking at what are the areas of greatest need, and we understand that in northern Ghana there are significant levels of disparity. That there are many communities that are facing more severe poverty, let's say, than in other parts of Ghana. So we have chosen to focus a lot of our work in the northern part of the country, but not all, of course. And so one of the other women's entrepreneurship programs that we're funding is in fact in major urban centers. So in Accra, in Kumasi, in Takoradi, that's the Invest project with our partner WUSC, that is working on delivering gender-sensitive training to women who are young and poor and living in urban centers, including migrant women, and helping them to get access to the economy. And then we have one more project also in northern regions, the We Act project with Oxfam Quebec and Oxfam Ghana, that is working to pull down some of those some of those gender stereotypes and barriers in the informal sector and in agriculture. So altogether, we have, I think, a really great package that is continuing to grow and to deliver great results for women entrepreneurs in Ghana.
So even as you're leaving, what do you think your expectation will be, let's say, for the next 5 years, when most of these projects would have matured? Where do you see women entrepreneurship in the next 5 years, even as you're gone? Based on these projects that have...
Based on these projects and other work that is already ongoing and will continue to come on stream, I'm quite confident that we're going to see in Ghana a significantly increased role for women entrepreneurs. It's not just about entrepreneurship training, right? It's about overcoming stereotypes. It's about women feeling confident to take on new roles. It's about new areas of the economy opening up and women seeing opportunities for themselves. So there are many different factors that go into the success of women entrepreneurs, but I know that in part, at least, Canada's support to this sector will have helped them along.
Great. That's some good stuff. But you came in a very hard moment of Ghana's economy, and even the global economy. COVID-19 had just struck. We're just exiting a lockdown and even entering a different lockdown altogether. But in the midst of all these challenges, Canada and Ghana were able to, have a successful bilateral trade worth over $400 million in, direct trade. But what were the existing challenges, and how have, both countries been able to see through these challenges in the course of these years?
So I would say the challenges that existed were not specific to the Canada-Ghana bilateral trade relationship. They were really global challenges. You mentioned COVID, and we know the impacts that has had on all kinds of things, on supply chains, on the arrival of inputs, on trade routes, on so many things that have just made it so much more difficult for international trade. And then more recently, we've seen the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. What that has been doing again for the global economic situation, including around inflation and food sources and lack of inputs like chemical fertilizers. So those are all having a major impact that goes way beyond our two-way trade relationship. Obviously. But I'm really proud of that number, of the fact that we still have had a very solid economic or trade performance between our two countries in 2021. So that speaks to the fact that we continue to work hard to continue to build and grow our trade and investment relationship. We continue to have our great Trade Commissioner Service team at the High Commission that stands ready to support Canadian businesses and Ghanaian businesses that are looking to meet up with the Canadian counterparts. We know that Ghana is the fourth largest export market for Canadian products in sub-Saharan Africa. So, these are all really good signs that we're on a very positive path and will continue to go in that direction. The one thing I would say is that, for any trader or any investor, they are always looking to see that certain things are in place in the economic context, in the market context of the country with which they're working. And I'm thinking about things like rule of law and transparency and predictability, so that they know that if they enter into a trade relationship, that things will get done. So everything that we can keep doing together as partners to keep building that kind of transparency and openness will just help to continue growing that relationship.
But what about the other concerns? You talk of investors. When it comes to the business climate, currently we're seeing inflation around the world hover.
Yes.
Based on this Ukraine-Russia issue, we're seeing food prices soar. How are Canadian investors really monitoring this situation, especially with Ghana going for an IMF bailout?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't heard anything from any of our current Canadian clients saying, "Oof, Ghana has now become a no-go zone." Definitely not. There continues to be strong interest. We continue to work actively with the Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, and in looking at it. Enticing new businesses and exactly. So I think, frankly, that the fact that Ghana has undertaken negotiations with the IMF is reassuring in a sense. It means that the government knows what needs to get done, and it will do so, and it will ensure that investors feel confident that the economy is going to stay on track.
That's great. Let's now talk of climate change, because we cannot really determine when it's going to fall, when it's going to shine.
Yes.
And we're seeing climate change really have a bite on food chains, food baskets, specifically in Ghana and the rest of Africa. Based on this, we've seen that Canada has also expressed keen interest regarding the Canada-Africa Development Bank Climate Fund, worth close to about $132.9 million US dollars. What informed the creation or the establishment of this fund, first of all?
So Canada takes our climate change responsibilities and our commitments very seriously, and this was one of the ways that we chose to show that we are not just talking the talk, that we're walking the talk. By putting this climate fund in place with the African Development Bank. We know that the African Development Bank is a very strong partner. They are able to reach all of the countries on the African continent, and so it just seemed like a really logical fit. And as I say, it was one of the ways in which our government was able to meet our commitments to do more around climate change, and in particular to provide more support to developing countries.
So when should we expect a rollout?
So we the new fund was announced last year in 2021. And it's going to be a really interesting special fund that provides some catalytic that we hope will engage public and private sector financing and investments. It will be open to all of the member countries of the African Development Bank, and I think things are still getting finalized, but we will be in a position soon to see the project or program become operationalized, and there will be announcements around that on the Government of Canada's climate pages.
All right. Yeah. So there isn't any estimated timeline by which this could roll
Not
out?
for the moment, but I mean it's well underway.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I must believe that during your stay here, you may have had personal experiences, lessons along the line. One of your colleagues from France said she learned how to be patient.
You mean around
during her stay here
GMT, Ghana? Yes.
She learned how to be patient. Not just with the time, but with the people.
Yeah.
I want to find out from you the kind of lessons and the kind of things you're taking along with you.
Well, it's something I've been reflecting on in the past weeks, knowing that I would be leaving soon. And there are probably three things that I can point to in terms of of kind of lessons or things that I'm taking away from Ghana. The first is that sadly, as you know, many people in developed countries, including Canada, think of Africa as a basket case. It's where those images of starving children and drought-stricken fields are what's kind of top of mind for those people. And one of the great things about my time here is that it has given me so many examples of how I can counter that false narrative. I mean, yes, those things happen in some places, but Ghana is is a great example of a country that is, that has risen to the status of a lower middle income country, that has, a stable government in place, that, is now a fully democratic system. You have all kinds of important democratic institutions. You have a vibrant civil society. So, many other things that I could mention, but these are all things that I will look forward to using to counter that image of Africa, and to show that countries like Ghana are really kind of leading the way and are the face of the way we should be thinking about Africa these days. So that would be one thing.
That's deep. That's deep.
Okay. I'm glad you think so.
Having to counter most of these stereotypes and prejudices about Africa is very informative, especially when most of these narratives about us, mostly false, often have impact on development partnerships and perceptions of investment and all. So it's really encouraging to know that this particular lessons that you're taking along with you. So what's going to be the second lesson that you're taking along?
So the second lesson would be, for me, it was about getting to understand the role that is played not only by government but by traditional leaders. And so I have to say, it's the first time I've worked in a country where the role of traditional leaders like kings and local chiefs and queen mothers is so very, very strong. And it's not something that I had, so because I hadn't seen it before, I didn't really understand how it worked. And that has been a real lesson to me, to understand that you can have a strong functioning government and they can pass laws, or they can issue decrees. But unless you actually bring on board the leadership of local communities, things won't necessarily change. And you have to find that balance between the two, right, to make things really work successfully. So that has been important.
And I think COVID was a classic case when people were told to wear masks. The rural communities were wondering, what's a mask? It took these traditional leaders to debunk most of these claims. So it's quite informative as well. So what's the third one?
So I did have a third one. I was thinking about it again as I reflect on my time here. Canadians take great pride in the fact that we are a very multicultural country, a very diverse country. But I've really come to appreciate the diversity that exists in Ghana as well. When I think about the many different ethnicities that live together side by side in peace and harmony, again, the many religions that coexist peacefully, the many different languages that are spoken, it's another great example of how a country can be really successful while having a diverse and multicultural society.
Indeed. And how many languages were we able to grasp?
Oh dear, that's not a fair question.
Was it Gatri ever? These are the three common languages.
I know, and I can't say that I've mastered any of them, and I apologize for that. But I know what Akwaba means. I can say Medase, and a few things
Those
like that.
Basic ones,
but not more than that, unfortunately.
That's great. So, aside from your diplomatic duties, what other, achievements or adventures do you think that would hold true to your stay here as Ambassador, High Commissioner to Canada here in Ghana?
Well, first let me say, Canadians are known to be modest people. So I am not going to point to anything that I did, but I do think that as a mission, as the High Commission of Canada, we've accomplished some really good things. And there are a few things that I look back at really, really proudly about my time here. One of them would be that after 2 years of a complete lack of high-level engagement, in-person engagement, we were able to bring to Ghana in the space of just 3 months several high-level visits this year. So starting in March, we had the visit of two ships from the Royal Canadian Navy that did a stop in the Tema port, and we were able to organize all kinds of great activities around that. We had the visit of our Minister of International Development in March. He was here to meet with government, to meet with civil society, to so announce some new programming, but also really just get a feel for the work that we are doing in Ghana. We then had the visit of our Minister of Environment and Climate Change in May, and he also engaged, with not only with government but with climate activists and civil society and academia, and that was a very, very positive experience. And then we also had the visit of 4 parliamentarians, 2 senators and 2 MPs who are members of the Canada-Africa Parliamentary Friendship Group, and they were here for a week and had all kinds of exchanges. And I look back on all of those things with pride, because it really was a way of demonstrating that Canada remains very much committed to our relationship with Ghana. We take it very seriously. We see Ghana as an important partner for us. And so as soon as travel circumstances allowed, we were back here with a bang, with lots of high-level visits.
Obviously.
So that has been a real highlight.
Great.
It was a lot of work, but it was a real highlight